Welcome to Carlton's Math Corner. Today we're going to continue a study on multiplying fractions and mixed numbers. Our target today is that I can problem solve with multiplication of fractions. Now we're going to look at some real-world problems and we're going to use our skills on multiplying fractions and mixed numbers to solve these problems. So let's look at our first word problem. It says a house cat has an average lifespan that is 4/5 of a lion's. If a lion's lifespan is 15 years, find the average lifespan of a house cat. Well, first of all, let's highlight some key information. And as I look at this information, I'm trying to figure out how are those two pieces, like we have 4/5 here and we have 15 years. And I want to know, like, how are those numbers related to each other? What's their relationship? Well, I know that I have a lion's lifespan of 15 years, and I know that the cat's lifespan is 4/5 of that 15 years. So if this represents, 15 years, this line, 4/5 of it, that means if I separate it into 5 equal parts, I know that a cat's lifespan would be the length of 4 of them. And so I'm trying to figure out, first of all, how many years are in each of these equal parts, and how many years total is 4 of those equal parts out of the 5. So I'm taking 4/5 of that 15 years. And I notice that there is a key word of, and whenever we see this keyword, this clues us in that we are using a certain operation, like adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Well, our key operation is times, multiplication, whenever we see that word of. So what we're doing is we are taking 4/5 of, and 20 years, or not 20 years, 15, sorry, 15 years for the lion. So if I'm going to be multiplying these two fractions together, or actually we have a fraction and a whole number, I need to figure out how am I going to set this up first of all so that I can solve this. And so when I'm looking at this, in order for it to be a problem where I can actually multiply, I need to make this 15, I need to make it a fraction so that I can go ahead and multiply two fractions together. And so in order to make this a fraction, I am going to basically put 15 over 1, because 15 divided by 1 is 15 wholes. So putting it over 1 really hasn't changed anything. And so now I have 4/5 times 15 firsts. And now I have a multiplication problem, and I'm going to separate the numerator from the denominator. And looking at the numerators and the denominators, I notice that there are two numbers that I can simplify by reducing. And the first thing I notice is that I can simplify. I know that 5 goes into 5 and 15. And so if I take 5 divided by 5, I get 1. And 15 divided by 5, I get 3. And so I have now 4 firsts times 3 firsts. And so I can just multiply straight across. 4 times 3 is 12. And 1 times 1 is 1. Well, I don't need to put the 1 underneath the 12 because, again, 12 divided by 1, we're going to get 12. So a cat lives about 12 years. That's the average. And I could even have looked at our drawing and noticed that, well, if I separate 15 into 5 equal parts, I know that there are 3 in each part. And so 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, or 3 times 4, is 12. And that's where my 12 years would come from. Okay, so now let's look at another problem. Furry Pets pet store has 20 animals and 2/5 of them are puppies. Pets Galore pet store has 12 animals and 3/4 of them are puppies. Which pet store has more puppies? Well, our key information, we have 20 animals at the Furry pet store. Are 2/5 of them, or 2/5 of them are puppies. And then at the Pets Galore pet store, we have 12 animals, 3/4 of them are puppies. And the key words again is of. It's in both. We have 2/5 of 20 and 3/4 of 12. And we're trying to do a comparison here to see which one has more puppies. So if I have 20 animals, let's start off there. We have 20 animals at the Furry pet store, and I want to find 2/5 of them. So let's set up a multiplication problem. And at the other store, we have 12 animals times we have 3/4 of them. And so if we have this set up as such, now I can change both these to fractions. Remember, I can always put this whole number over 1, and that would create a fraction, so it'd be 20 firsts. And same thing with this one, it would be 12 firsts. And now I can compare them, anything that we can simplify on either one of these. Here's the denominators, and then the numerators are right here. Anything that we can simplify. Yes, I know that I can simplify 20/5 and I can separate 12/4. First of all, what goes into 20/5? Yep, 5. And so if I divide by 5, I get 5 divided by 5 is 1, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. And then how about over here? What goes into 12 and 4? 4 does. 4 goes into 12 3 times, and 4 goes into 4 1 time. And so now I can multiply straight across. 4 times 2 is 8, and 1 times 1 is 1. So I'm just going to leave it there. So they have 8 puppies. And over here, how many puppies do they have? 3 times 3 is 9. And 9 over 1 times 1 is 1. So 8 puppies versus 9 puppies. Which pet store has more? The Pets Galore pet store. And that would be my answer. Nice job. For your ticket problems, what I would like for you to do is to complete these 2 problems. And so one is about Ethan and using a recipe. He needs 1 1/3 cups of butter for a batch of sugar cookies. If he makes 8 batches, how much butter will he need? And then lastly, Lauren and spending money at Target. 3/4 of the money will go on groceries. How much is being spent on groceries? Thank you so much for joining me at Carlton's Math Corner, and I look forward to meeting with you again.